Уважаемые спикеры, дорогие друзья, присутствующие, разрешите поприветствовать вас на нашем
Dear
бизнес-диалоге.
friends and those in attendance, let me welcome you to our business dialogue. I'm Andrei Prokopchuk, Director of the Foreign Affairs Department with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I have the honor to be the moderator of this high-profile business dialogue. As a short introduction, I'd like to say that trade relations between the EAEU and UAE shows positive development for many years now. The United Arab Emirates is one of the key trade partners for the Union and for the Council of Persian Gulf countries. The trade turnover was 75%, and the growth potential between our countries is not fully unlocked. We are planning to implement this potential based on the agreement of partnership that we hope to sign tomorrow. But the agreement itself has been signed in a very short time frame, which testifies to a high level of relations. This cooperation is based on the regulatory rules and regulations. It eliminates tariff barriers and it creates tools for intersectoral cooperation looking forward. Allow me to present to you our respected speakers. Natalia Vladimirovna, you have recently been appointed the chair of the Council. First of all, I would like to congratulate you on this appointment and give you the floor as a representative of Belarus at this dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, thank you, all the panelists. We're happy to welcome all the visitors and delegates to this dialogue. It is a prerogative for us to sign milestone agreements with the UAE and Mongolia. We are particularly pleased because we have close interstate links with these countries, and it's gratifying to know that we're making progress internationally, and the agreement with the UAE was prepared in a very short time. Considering closeness of ties with the UAE, I should note that this venue is a result of a large-scale project involving UAE, and we are quite happy that our initiatives have been implemented, and I hope that the endeavors that we are undertaking will lay the foundation of the new period of our strategic development. Thank you, Natalia Vladimirovna. You've touched upon the signing of tomorrow's signing of an agreement. So my question is, how you evaluate the economic impact of the signing for Belarus, and which product have the highest potential? I would like to go far ahead in answering this question and make my personal compliments to the United Arab Emirates. I'm curious about this country. It is an example of a country which, in a very short period of time, managed to achieve so far, and the achievements are spectacular. They show the prudence of the chosen strategy of the human resources. And despite serious raw materials feeding of the economy, they are quite prudent and expedient in what they do. And this predetermines the products that are being traded. And raw materials are an important component, but there are a number of vehicles, venues that we are going to continue to embrace. One of them is reduction of customs fees. In Belarus, it will be 95%, and from Belarus to the UAE, 91%. In the next 5 years, we must bring import fees to zero, and export fees also should be reduced. This will provide us with a range of other benefits, i.e., elimination of barriers in standardization, sanitary and phytosanitary measures, reduction of barriers in intellectual property protection. And I say again that despite the raw materials component, there are avenues opening up for trading other products. I think we could be of interest to the United Arab Emirates in terms of delivering food products, textile, light industry. By the way, coming back to the food products, I could see this in media. Belarusian foods are already widely represented in retail networks of the UAE, and our tourists, whenever they spot Belarusian products on the shelves in the UAE, they want to make a video about it. We can also find points of contact on timber and wood processing. Another area is pharmaceuticals. This is where we can be proud about. This is what we can export. And also we can elaborate on the scientific and research components. So our job is to find proper niche in the Belarus-UAE track. Also, the UAE is a country that takes up a major place and plays a major role in the Gulf, among the Gulf countries. And in that regard, the UAE could become a hub through which we can develop relations with other countries further outfield. For me, as a lawyer, everything starts with the legal regulation. Once we have a point of departure, things become easier. We've gone through a lot of progress across the board, and now it's a lot easier to move forward. Thank you, Natalia Vladimirovna. And one more question to you. To the best of my knowledge, Belarus and the UAE have also been working on signing a bilateral agreement on trade, services, and investments. What can you say to that? I don't want to jinx it, but I hope that tomorrow we will sign it together with our partners. At least it's ready for signature, and I hope that we will get it done as part of a high-profile event. Indeed, it's wonderful news. I believe Belarus is the first country among the EAEU to conclude a bilateral agreement tomorrow. And once the agreement on economic partnership is signed, we will have a full package of documents to intensify cooperation on product lines and investment. So let's switch to our respected guests from the United Arab Emirates, Mr. Tani Ben Ahmed Al Zayudi. Welcome to Belarus. We're always welcome and happy to see our international guests. Thank you for personally participating in this business dialogue. My question to you is, in your opinion, what should we focus on to effectively implement the agreement? Which activities must be taken immediately to implement it? Is it business consultancy or something else to maximize the impact?
Thank you so much for your welcoming remarks. It's really a pleasure to be back to Minsk, and let me start as well to thank my dear friend, His Excellency Andrei, for the friendship and the work that has been done by both teams for the last 2 years and a half, although we concluded the agreements in less than 2 years. So we're looking forward for the full signing tomorrow and the implementation of the agreement. Let me just, before I start speaking about how we're going to do the full implementation, I want to just give some numbers between both sides. We started the negotiation in 2022. So based on the numbers, the bilateral non-oil numbers that we had in 2021. And the bilateral trade for non-oil between both sides, based on our numbers, was $7.5 billion. And last year, we reached $29 billion with the member states. That growth is almost 287%. And it shows the momentum and the growth between the UAE and the 5 member states of EAEU. And I'm sure the agreement is going to take us to the next level. Her Excellency was mentioning the liberalization percentages as well as the details of the agreement. But I want to give as well from my side the economic impact that we set, and usually very conservative. We're seeing that this agreement is going to add minimum $9 billion for our GDP and $9 billion for the region GDP by 2032. That is a good growth in our GDP, and I'm sure this is very conservative. It's going to be going beyond that because of the special relation between both sides. Liberalization is really high. We're talking about almost 95% of the current trade and 85% of the whole tariff lines. And we're going to continue after the implementation on ensuring that liberalization is going to go up. What we are going to ensure to do the full implementation, expeditation of the ratification, which we're going to do from our side. We're going to ensure the coordination between us and the region member states and the region commission to facilitate the full implementation of the agreement. And at the same time, we're going to ensure that the committees, the governance are going to be fully implemented so we have a smooth implementation from government to government angle. What we're going to do as well, we're going to actively engage the private sector. And without the private sector, we'll not be able to fully utilize the agreements. And it's always the case. We open door as a government, but the most important role is going to be on the private sector to fully utilize these agreements and ensure that there is a smooth implementation of the agreement. So chambers to chambers discussion, business dialogues among both sides, business trips and business forums are going to be conducted with the member states in close coordination with the Commission. And we want to make sure that we're going to do a full implementation through media campaign and awareness program, so we can reach out to as many private sector and business people to capitalize and use the agreement. For sure, you said the consultations and companies. We all contribute to this full implementation. No one can do it alone. Government cannot do it alone. The private sector cannot do it alone. We all have to work together. And the frankness and transparency among the different stakeholders are very critical to ensure that we're fully utilizing the agreements. But what I can assure you, and I'm sure His Excellency, the Minister of Trade as well of the region, Commission is going to as well confirm this. This is just the beginning. We're going to look for more liberalization and more engagements from our side. And at the same time, not only the REGI agreements, we're doing a bilateral TCA investments and services to complement the agreements, which is going to be as well signed tomorrow. We're going to sign the first one tomorrow with Belarus, then going to be followed up with the other member states, which some of them are done and some of them are almost at the final touches. So we're not only looking at trading goods, but also services and investments, because that is going to bring the whole picture together.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abzoudi, for your very inspiring speech. I would also like to use this opportunity to thank you for the leadership of the negotiation team, for the flexibility demonstrated by the UAE's negotiators to reach the deal, which I hope will be finalized tomorrow by all the signatures put on the paper. So thank you very much for that. And one thing I would like to highlight from what you said, you're absolutely right that the ratification process is an equally important component. The sooner all the countries and unions and United Arab Emirates achieve that, the quicker it will come into force, and the quicker our business will be able to enjoy all the benefits of what we were discussing together. In that regard, I would like to give the floor now to the member of the Collegium of the Minister of Trade, Mr. Slepnyov, who was the head of our negotiation team in this quite quick round of negotiations, but very important round as well. Now we have a unique opportunity to hear from the actual witness, or from the insider of that deal negotiation, because everybody is curious to learn what is happening behind the scenes. So over to you now. Of course, I won't tell you everything. But before I start my input, I would like to thank everybody and congratulate Ms. Pitkevich with her appointment as the Deputy Chair of the Government of Belarus and the Chair of the Council. We all noticed your very quick and bright commencement of your duties. Hopefully it will be as bright in the future. And also would like to congratulate Mr. Lidi with the appointment of the high position in the United Arab Emirates. In fact, Mr. Judi was doing this work in the past as well, but now he's heading the whole ministry. And it's not simply an administrative rearrangement, it's a reflection of the policy of UAE and the results already achieved in that department. To be honest, I would like to specifically note here, because when we speak about UAE as the gateway to the region, this is not just a simile or showing respect to the country. It's a fact built on huge investments done by United Arab Emirates to the logistics, to the ports and infrastructure, trade connections, economic zones, and there are no longer plans. This is what already exists on the ground. Very difficult region indeed, and it is highly significant that we are signing this agreement today, which is connecting us to that new wave of growth demonstrating by UAE and the whole region. Another thing to note, it is equally conspicuous that during the current circumstances, when the whole world is talking about turbulence in the global trade, about fragmentation of trading channels, barriers and tariff policy, and against this background, we're signing a big agreement with UAE on trade cooperation. In fact, this is the reflection of the trading policy conducted by by EAEU, which is spearheaded by our presidents, and it's called integration of friends. This integration is targeting joint development, seeking potential of growth, which will strengthen all of us and develop our connections, develop cooperation in industries. We'll develop the North-South corridor, which is an important hub. And its important hub is the United Arab Emirates now. And in the context of already enacted agreement with Iran and new agreement with the United Arab Emirates and other processes ongoing with other countries of the region, we see that one step at a time, one brick at a time, we're building this edifice of future economic growth and development that we will contribute to. Speaking about the actual agreement and the trading potential, we see that over the past decade, our trading volume with the Emirates has grown almost fivefold. We also observe that that it is no longer an agreement about free trade, but a partnership agreement. In that respect, it is a unique and advanced experience for us. We never had such profound agreements with our partners before. We have agreed on a broad range of practical issues which go far beyond the boundaries of simple deletion of duties. It's customs processes, a big block about digitization of trade, electronic trade, industrial cooperation. These are all the matters and items that we'll have to uncover and disclose their potential to demonstrate the real bar, how high we raised it for our trading development with all our partners. And this pilot project with Emirates is quite telling in that regard, because Emirates is the country who are most prepared for such forward movement. Our colleagues from UAE demonstrate the most advanced practices and technologies. They're conducting well-balanced policy in different regards, and in that respect, they're a very reliable partner. We shouldn't forget that we have a big business community present in UAE, represented by Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan. All of us have very special relationship. We have a big community of people living there. This is the foundation that we can rely on, who can replenish all our agreements with practical content. Now, I would like to note a number of things. Indeed, it is super important when, together with this agreement, we'll be signing an agreement on services and investments. Altogether, this deal will bring us up to a full-fledged trading format. And the key element of that will be how to replenish it with specific activities. We keep in touch. I keep in touch with my colleague from UAE, and we see that our watches are synchronized with the trends of international trade. And I would like to use this opportunity once again to invite our friends from UAE to look more attentively at the processes happening in our country, because we have a huge ground to apply our joint efforts to, and to invite UAE business here, both in terms of investments and trade. And once again, I would like to raise the awareness of our local business that the potential is huge. If we look at the numbers and statistics of trade with United Arab Emirates now, 25 billion with China, we have 300 billion with China. With India, we have almost 100 billion. We see that these are the numbers which are quite feasible. These are the parameters we should be eyeing and trying to emulate. And I'm confident that this agreement will be very conducive to that. And in conclusion, I would like to say that, of course, tomorrow we'll all celebrate that result that we expect to happen. But it's not the end of the process. It's the beginning, or rather continuation of our efforts that will be undertaken in future as well to implement all our expectations. I would like to thank all the participants of this negotiation round for the work well done. Thank you very much. Thank you, Andrei Alexandrovich, for your input. Just like originally announced, everybody will see the results of this deal only when all the proper signatures will be put on the paper, right? Now I would like to give the floor to Janel Seber-Mashikova, the Minister of Trade and Integration of the Republic of Kazakhstan. As far as we know, United Arab Emirates also are a key partner for Kazakhstan in the region. So, Janel Sabdurovna, which advantages do you see in signing such an agreement on the side of Kazakhstan? Yes, thank you for giving me the floor. First of all, before I start my speech, I would like to extend my words of gratitude to Belarus for organizing this forum, for the meeting, for the warm welcome. Yes, I'm really floored by this sheer scale, the greenery of the city, broad streets, this beautiful expo building, which is housing us at the moment. Thank you very much for that. As for your question, Andrei Alexandrovich, I would like to echo what he said. This is the agreement that we signed with our friends. Indeed, United Arab Emirates, we've had more than 30 years of traditional, friendly, very constructive, very neighborly relations with the UAE. And we see eye to eye on many issues, and relying on this mutual understanding will keep building our future cooperation. The numbers that speak for themselves, we don't have that big volume of trade, about $300 million. But we believe that's too little for our countries. We have much bigger ambitions and plans to develop this trading volume, and we're planning to increase it at least to the bar of 1 billion, and the agreement that will be signed tomorrow, will allow to implement our ambitious expectations for the benefits of our both countries. Another thing to note is the experience that we have gained in the mutual investments, about 3 billion investments of Arab investments and 1 billion of Kazakh investments in the UAE. They contribute to the prosperity of our two nations. Another thing, the trading volume is growing. We already have some prospects that we are eyeing at the moment, that we are prepared to export to UAE in the amount of about $500 million, which will be an add-on to the existing trading volume. The future prospects for us would be the supply of organically clean agricultural produce to UAE, like, for instance, export of lamb meat. I'm sure that UAE customers appreciate the quality of our lamb. What I mentioned in the beginning of our negotiations, the insights, that would be our sensitive export items, like the supply of flour, cooking flour and butter, and other, of course, agricultural produce that will find the customers in UAE market. Also, we have very close cooperation and the services export. We have an increase of export of our services like passenger export, IT services also, and Kazakhstan and the UAE have entered the final lap of signing a bilateral agreement on services. And very soon, I expect it to be announced officially. Inshallah, we'll sign it as well. And very soon as we complete all other procedures, of course. In fact, we have quite big plans with UAE in the field of construction of infrastructure. We have very good cooperation in that regard. I'm talking about the construction of cross-border logistical centers, including digital transport corridor and interaction in Abu Dhabi on the construction of sea and port infrastructure. It is done on the Kazakhstan territory in the Caspian Sea, and the possibility of our participation in similar infrastructure projects on the territory of UAE. We are very much interested in this, of course. Another thing to note, speaking about businesses, we have very close links, and since the beginning of the year, we've had full official trading missions to UAE when we bring our delegations there for them to start new contacts, and all of that should lead to intensification of our business relationship. Also, I can note that we have a Kazakh trade house already in Expo City, Dubai. I mentioned it many times before, that Astana International Center, which is covered by the British law. Already we have 1,700 companies registered under its umbrella, and the center is actively cooperating with the Dubai International Financial Center and the global market of Abu Dhabi. And we hope that this cooperation will develop in future, and we'll learn all the best practices of our Arabic friends that they will be prepared to share with us. Another thing, Kazakhstan, according to the Digital IQ Index, is ranked number 20 in terms of the speed of digitization, and we are among the group of the most promising countries in terms of digital prosperity. But we know that our colleagues from UAE are among the top leaders in that respect, especially in the field of AI. And we know that you're the first in the world to promote AI in your country. And of course, you will be a benchmark for us that we'll try to emulate, whose experience we'll try to put to good use in the development of our AI applications. Once again, I would like to underline that such an agreement is very promising for us, and we rely or count on that, and both within the five-country arrangement and on bilateral level, we are open for negotiations and cooperation. That would be all. Thank you very much. Thank you, Janelle Sabirovna. I wholeheartedly wish that all the plans that you just mentioned on bilateral cooperation with UAE would be implemented as soon as possible, and also wish you achieve progress in signing the bilateral agreement with the service trade. Now, dear friends, we can give the floor to the representative of Kyrgyz Republic, Deputy Minister of Economy and Commerce, Mr. Akhmatov. Sultan Ahmatovich, next year you'll be commemorating 30 years since the establishment of diplomatic relations between Kyrgyzstan and United Arab Emirates. In that regard, I would like to learn from you what expectations does the Kyrgyz side have from the to-be signed deal? What benefits would be open now for Kyrgyz partners, and what Kyrgyz companies are, first of all, interested in expansion of supplies to the UAE market? Thank you very much. Good afternoon, colleagues. First of all, I would like to thank our Belarusian host for the perfectly organized forum, for creating perfect atmosphere for such a business dialogue under such conditions. More and more deals and agreements can be signed. Specifically, I would like to say that our union is now 10 years old. This is the testimony of our maturity, that we're becoming a significant regional player. And the signing of such agreements and deals shows that the prospects of cooperation of EAEU with other countries is huge, and the prospects for new doors open up to us will be mutually beneficial. Secondly, somebody mentioned that UAE is the gateway to the Persian Gulf. I would add to that that UAE is such a significant state. It's more like a gateway to the Arabic world. And the fact that we are signing such an agreement is giving a signal to other Persian Gulf countries and Middle East countries that such agreements are mutually beneficial for all parties involved. That is why I would like to specifically thank Andrei Alexandrovich and his team for the negotiations. And the crowning jewel of this is going to be signing of this agreement with UAE. As for our 30-year-old friendship with UAE, I will share some statistics with you. In just the past 4 years, ever since 2020 until 2024, in other words, the trading volume has increased almost 12-fold before signing that agreement. So see, the prospects are incredible. And almost 98% of all the duties are going to be cancelled. It's enough said, as I say. And the numbers are not as great so far as we could have them, but this new agreement will multiply them multifold. And now, the size of the market of United Arab Emirates for, say, agricultural produce from Kyrgyzstan is evaluated at about $430 million. This is what we're planning for the short-term future. But signing of this agreement, I hope, will contribute to the increase of our capacity within the country. Also, we expect some import from UAE, because this is the regional trading center with its own business activity and tourism activities. And we expect that our interaction in the field of tourism will increase as well.
And I would like to welcome the idea of making such agreements, and I hope we will only achieve better goals. We have the investment company, which we hope will generate 1.2 billion. And hopefully we will be able to increase it even several-fold. So I'm saying that as we're approaching the signing of the agreement, we welcome it, and we hope it will open new avenues for cooperation and trade. Thank you. Thank you, Sultan Mamatovich. Now I would like to talk about sustainable development goals. And here with us we have a special representative of the Russian president on SDGs. Could you tell us if you have anything post 2030 as far as sustainable development is concerned? Thank you very much. I think the United Arab Emirates today is one of our key partners on this work. We closely coordinate our effort. We are catching up because the UAE has been working on this for many years now, and they are building their economic policy in line with 17 SDGs adopted in 2015 by the United Nations. Indeed, this is a consistent, systematic, well-administered and managed work. By the way, the UAE achieved a lot of success, and they failed a little bit short of 50% of SDG performance, whereas the average across the world is only 17%. At the SPF, we provided our report, a voluntary report. We believe we reached 63%, and we're going to share this in New York at the high-level forum. And together with our friends, Mr. Abdullah Landuta, who is responsible for this in the UAE. So together we're going to carry out joint activities on the progress of SDGs. This is an initiative of the UAE, Indonesia, and Russia, where we will also talk about post-2030. Because achieving current goals leaves much more to be desired. The goals were quite ambitious, lofty, and very humanitarian. But since resources, financial and administrative, were not properly considered, quite a number of SDGs have not been fully implemented. To avoid this, beyond 2030, and considering some issues which are very acute, and failure to achieve one goal in one country will have a trickle effect on the other country. But we hope that the goals will be more expedient, more well thought out, and together we're contemplating this with the UAE. The UAE has already started working on SDGs in English, and our colleagues are already thinking beyond 2050. So they call them XDGs. So X is unknown. So we don't know what kind of development goals will be devised beyond 2030. Belarus has also supported us in this work. We are setting up a Sustainable Development Council in the SCO, and we are working at the UN level too. I'm responsible for two tracks. I have been commissioned by the President of Russia to address sustainable development. So, secondly, I would like to thank the UAE that in the recent, very difficult years with a lot of limitations, the UAE has lended us a lending hand, helped us a lot, and our development continued. This is definitely not a beginning because Russian business is present, has a very good presence in the UAE. But speaking about the UAE, I believe that the mass caterings in Russia have the Arabic roots. The restaurant called Magadan has become very appealing recently. Plus, real estate. Russian investors take up a sizable portion. Then we have machine building industry. One enterprise has hired 12,000 employees. Space exploration, energy sector, naturally. Even the first carbon units that were issued in Russia were bought off by the UAE colleagues. We are developing. Dubai comes first. Abu Dhabi is also picking up speed. I'm happy that we have Rosenheim, which is developing as a tourist destination, first of all, but it's mostly an industrial area. So a lot is being invested in industry.
Число их будет продолжаться. И одна критика, что с алкоголем все сложнее.
The only critique is that alcohol is still a difficult issue, and it's very hard to enter the UAE market with that. But we continue to cooperate and making progress. This is not a beginning, far from that. But the potential for growth is still not unlocked. Thank you. Thank you very much, Boris Yurievich, for making two in one, both in terms of sustainable development and the second track. I'd like to give the floor Suleiman Al-Ali now, who is the Chief Director of Space 42. Space 42 sets ambitious objectives to become #1 in satellite communication, and it has a good track record as a provider of AI generated capabilities. So, Distinguished Mr. Al-Ali, could you share your plans and international projects that could become growth drivers in the Eurasian space?
Thank you very much for the question, Your Excellencies. I'm really honored and to be among you here today. And I think I'm the only one who's representing a part of the private sector here in this panel. So just to add to what His Excellency Dr. Thanis Judi said, that the formalities between the countries are set, but the private sector is the one who will go and really do the execution. So this is one of the things that we are trying to do here, is trying to show the capabilities of the private sector within the UAE and how it can expand globally and provide the services internationally. the strategy that Space 42 has to expand internationally anchor around three main pillars, where we start with advancing and extending the connectivity that we have. Second, we go with strategic partnership globally. And at the end, we look at the innovation and technological advancement. So if we look at the first pillar, we want to expand the connectivity. We are working in two major expansion projects. To start with, today we have a fleet of 6 satellites. This is the constellation that we have. We provide satellite connectivity to more than 150 countries, spanning between Asia-Pacific region, Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. The services that we provide are between mobile satellite connectivity and also fixed connectivity, providing it in different platforms and different solutions for air, land, and sea applications. The new trend that is in the market today to have a LEO constellation where you can provide global services to different type of customers, being government or consumer businesses. This is the plan that we are working to have a global LEO constellation to provide our services globally and to this region. If we look into the second major project that we are working in is what we call it as a direct-to-device constellation. We have already announced our plan for the direct-to-device constellation that we want to build with an international partner, and that will be available 2028 going onward. By having that, we will be providing our, let's say, mobile operators and mobile users with a direct connectivity where they can use their normal handset to connect to the satellite directly without any modification that you need. We also are bridging that gap by bringing a device that is in middle between what we want or what is our ambition to provide and what we have today. So one of the devices that we have is here, what we call it as the smartphone to be used on the satellite industry. This is the only Android phone that can work on in the satellite industry that today have both 5G connectivity and the satellite connectivity, where you can use it as a normal phone for an everyday use, but whenever you are out of the coverage, you can rely on the satellite connectivity from Thuraya, which is one of the subsidiaries of Space 42. If we talk about the partnership now, in terms of connectivity, we have more than 400 agreements globally with mobile operators, regional and global, where our customers can communicate directly with any mobile operators without thinking about if they have a roaming agreement or no. So that will be a seamless experience for our customer because of the expanded partnership that we have. In terms of distribution network, if we look at the strength of any technology company is how will it can reach to the customer and how they can really distribute their product. Now we have been in the industry for a long time. The first asset, which is Thuraya, have been established in 1997. So since that day until today, we have been working on expanding our distribution network, and this is why we have the access to the market that we have today, and this is part of the things that we look into add as part of the agreements that we have between UAE and other countries. In terms of advancing technology, one of the elements that were talked about is the AI. Today, Space 42 is a subsidiary of G42. G42 is considered to be a major player and a global player leading the advancement of AI development and implementation globally. So we are taking an advantage of being part of that group, where we are taking one is to implement it to optimize better the resources that we have. How to really minimize the operational costs that you have within operating all these satellite constellations. We have also another part of the business that is geospatial that I missed to talk about, which is satellite images, that we are also having a constellation of 8 satellites. That is a radar satellite. We have also a global coverage where we take images and provide customers with an AI-developed solution that will give the customer the benefit of the geospatial and Earth observation capabilities that are coming from the satellite. So when we are using the AI capabilities for our internal uses, we are optimizing the costs. And when we are using it to provide the customer with a solution that he wants, we are able to provide the customer with a bespoke solution that fit his own requirement with a real benefit that is benefiting him on a real life experience. So these are, in general, our global vision and strategy to go internationally. And we have been, in this region for a long time. There are a lot of areas. If we talk about agri-tech, if we talk about communication, if we talk about, other infrastructure advancement, we have all the capabilities that we can bring to the region and also learn from the region as being an advanced region in terms of innovation and technology, where we are bringing a lot of these capabilities in UAE and trying to build up a local capabilities inside UAE, basing that on the relation that we have with our international partners. Thank you very much.
Благодарю вас, господин Аль-Али. На самом деле, то, о чем вы рассказали, современные технологии и
Thank you very much, Mr. Al-Ali. Indeed, what you've just told us about your vision and your plans, I sincerely wish you that these plans come true. And following up on the high tech and safety, I would like to give the floor to the next speaker from Kaspersky Laboratory, Timur Biachuyev. Kaspersky Labs have been on the guard for more than 20 years, and you are covering a lot of countries, including Arab world. Could you share with us your vision of cooperation in terms of information security? Thank you very much. We sincerely welcome the signing of partnership agreement between the Eurasian Economic Union and the United Arab Emirates. We are convinced that this partnership will improve trade prospects both in the EAEU and in the United Arab Emirates. We've been conducting business in the UAE for about 20 years now. We have a superior market presence, and we, as a global vendor, can see that the development of the market outstrips global trends.
We see it in terms of the high demand for the security products and our economic indicators. The growth of our business last year alone was about 34% in UAE, 26% of which covered the consumer market and 35% the corporate market sector, starting from SMEs until enterprise segment and state-owned enterprises. Our headquarters in the region for Middle East is located also in Dubai, and recently we expanded our presence there by increasing our office space because our business is growing. I would like to use this opportunity to note a special significance from the point of view of our expertise, the aspect of security of industrial sector. That sector is well represented in UAE. According to our global threat statistics, we saw that in the region, especially in the UAE, every fourth PC or computer running the internal control system experienced the onslaught of cyber attacks, which is higher than the global average that we have, which is a proof of a simple fact that this sector is growing and the criminals are paying special attention to that growing market, which simply means that we need to cooperate more actively by meaning we, I mean, us representatives of this industry, representatives of that sector and state-owned organizations. As it has been mentioned previously, our company is working on the markets of about 200 countries. And falling back on my experience, I can share a few tips or secrets in terms of cooperation, especially in the field of information security, some secrets or best practices that you might find useful in today's dialogue. First of all, it is a greater emphasis on cooperation with the regulators and state institutions. We have very good cooperation with the consulate office in the United Arab Emirates. First of all, that cooperation is directed at joint investigation of cybercrime and to joint publishing of reports. Regulators from all countries are trying to increase their cybersecurity both for individuals and for corporate businesses. And it undertakes different activities or operations to upgrade their regulation. We fully support their drive and we hope that it will increase the security, and then we are planning to expand our cooperation in that field as well. It was noted also that by Andrei Alexandrovich that in the conditions of the modern turbulence on the markets, it is very important to undertake a good relationship with our friends. Here, I would like to highlight the need for trust between the vendors of information security, hardware and software, and the consumers of such products and state-owned organizations. Here, we undertake special efforts to create the transparency centers all over the world. Transparency centers are special platforms where our customers, partners, representatives of state institutions, independent researchers are invited to come in and see even the source code and the quality of our products, which is important for the modern world, ask all the questions that they have, and see different types of audits that we do very voluntarily, and our compliance with international standards. And the third aspect I would like to highlight here is related to education, because unfortunately still human factor is the biggest, how do I put it, liability used by criminals when they hack into corporate networks, hitting into the most vulnerable groups of citizens like children and the elderly. In that regard, just like Boris Yurievich mentioned, ESG agenda. S part from ESG means social. We have a corporate strategy on ESG, and in United Arab Emirates, together with their consul, we have prepared a number of studies on child security related to growing up in the internet and how to protect these most vulnerable groups of citizens. Equally important now is to liquidate a big disadvantage in terms of the information security specialists. This is a global concern now, and our experience shows that the cooperation with the leading universities of a country and sharing this expertise and undertaking of joint educational initiatives helps increase the level of knowledge of all the specialists in whatever country we operate. To summarize, I can say that the cooperation is very important for business movement and development and for state-owned structures, and us, Laboratory of Kaspersky, stays open for cooperation with UAE and other countries of the Middle East. Thank you very much, Timur, for such an exciting input. And on behalf of all the users of your product, I would like to thank you for the work well done. And I would like to wish you achieve new heights and tops by successfully overcoming all the threats and hazards of the modern world, so that we could stay assured and focusing on that social dimension of ESG, as you mentioned. Timur's input was the final part of today's panel. So if the speakers or people from the floor have any questions for the keynote speakers or moderators, you have such an opportunity now. We have ended this panel a bit earlier than originally expected. Do you have a question? No? Then, if I may, I would like to very briefly summarize the results of our business dialogue. In fact, first of all, I would like to express my words of gratitude to all the speakers for their informative and interesting presentations. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing with the audience. And the main takeaway message that I can quote here is that many people here connect future progress with the deal to be signed tomorrow. In fact, colossal work was done behind the scenes. This deal is very beneficial for both sides. It was the search for a reasonable compromise, and the important thing here is the soonest procedure of ratification to make it work so that all of us could appreciate its advantages. The second takeaway here is the broad awareness raising through mass media, so that businesses operating here would be aware of that agreement, what benefits it provides, and could capitalize on that. That is why I would like to thank everybody for this very informative exchange, and I would wish all of you success and fruitful work in the course of these 2 very busy days. And those of you who have come to Minsk for the first time, I would wish you that along with this quite intensive work in our forum, you have still some quality time left to enjoy the sights of the hero city of Minsk. And I wish you have very memorable impressions about your visit here. First, introduce yourself. Sergei Saranchov, Belarusian Union of Entrepreneurs. I would like to welcome all our guests. Salam alaikum. Dear speakers and guests, in spite of the fact that most of our country is overclouded today, but the sky is free. Anyway, yesterday we saw a new moon in the sky, and I would like to thank all our guests, thank and congratulate all the Muslims, because today is the first day of Muharram month, and a new year started. In United Arab Emirates, tomorrow is the big holiday, a day off, and I would like to wish you that the signing of this seminal equipment on this celebratory day would lead to success for all of us. I would like to note, dear guests, that you came here to the land of Belarus. For more than 600 years, we have had a quite dynamic Muslim community living in Belarus, and the voice of Allah is heard here regularly. And the signing of such an agreement will lead eventually to the fact that we'll have more Muslims, inshallah, living in Belarus. Thank you very much. It means, yes, actually, I made a note of that as well. I forgot to mention it. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues.